खाना तो है नहीं वहाँ पे। अभी रुक जाओ, सेट करा दें। मेरे को कौन सा कोई सेट नहीं है, वो गुजरात से बात है। करना चाहिए ना, तो ऐसा नहीं आप बता दो चीज सेटिंग ठीक है ना, सेटिंग ठीक है। अच्छी जरूरत है, स्टार्ट तो करेंगे ना। हाँ वो तो चलेगा। हाँ कर दिए टाइम की मदद से कैसे पता चलेगा। इसी कैसे पता चलेगा क्या मिलेगा अच्छा मिलेगा मैं भी बता दूँ अरे टाइम की सेक्शन है आपको आवाज़ कुछ तो है तभी बोलते हैं लेकिन करा दी Good morning to everybody. So today the MMPH 305 is Organizational Development and Change. Today we have to discuss the block 3 part 2 means uh, and the block 3 there are unit number 8 and 9 already you have covered up. Now the balance units are unit number 10, unit 11 and 12. There is a process based change and unit 11 is your group based approaches to change and your unit 12 is your evaluation of the organizational change are to be discussed in this today's sessions. So now let's start for process based change. The process based change is a process. This is a process. The number of techniques, lot of techniques and approaches are there. This can be used for the subtopics gross, such as your SWOT analysis, then your right sizing organizational analysis, the review, that is in short OAR, total quality management, Six Sigma, then your breakthrough management, re-engineering, your operational excellence, etc. Nevertheless, at the heart of each of these programs remains the ultimate object of achieving breakthrough by fundamentally changing the way business is executed. In gist, we can say that for changing the organizations that earlier we have seen there are a lot of processes, lot of theories as such. Now here, these some of the tools and techniques you have to, different approaches you have to adopt, and based on these, you have to see some conclusions, some of the results for the changing of the organizational changes. Change is a process which progresses over a period of time. In the educational researches have defined the change process for both organizations and the individuals. Change is not a single event. It takes time to plan for change and try new practices and the importantly new programs effectively. So, in the part of your educational researches, what are the things are that we have to discuss? Now, change can emerge, act as a catalyst, and build a sense of humanity. The process of change may not be embraced by all. Conflicts are a natural part of the change process. It means it is not easy. So, but the process of change is not easy. Lot of other problems are there, and conflicts is also there because lot of resistance are coming. During the initial period, there are a lot of resistance are there, and all these things should be overcome. Change begins with the individual and will not be manifested in the organization until individuals believe in the change and understand the reasons which prompted change. Because in the manifestation, any manifested earlier it is written there in the organizations, then it could be declared as a notification that something are going on. So that case awareness program should be there that all the employees should know what are the changes are upcoming. So all these things are required to be discussed. So initially, lot of problems are coming. That has to be. It is not a very easy way. So operational transformation is an integrated process involving people from all levels of the management. Because during the transformations, you have to integrate all the things where the involvement of the people are very much required in all levels. The process is a top-down approach with the leadership preparing the ground for the transformations by communicating all the information related to the transformations process. The middle and the operational level become an integral part in achieving those goals and objectives. Basically, the line managers or those who are in the operational are even in the middle. So, so that meet all the objectives during the process of transformations are very much required. Basically, the execution is very important. Now, companies normally undertake business process improvement using there are two models. One is the continuous process improvement model, and number two is breakthrough re-engineering model, continuous uh, model. So there are two models. Now we have to discuss about the continuous process. The companies normally there are breakthrough engineering model and the continuous process. Now here you see the continuous process improvement model where as is where then after that you have to measure some of the things. There's some sort of flow diagrams what the way it is integrated, connected. Then implement and finally the implement. So this is a process procedures and some sort of model that is short CPI, that is continuous process improvement model. Now see the another model, there is a breakthrough engineering model where the changes of this nature provide for your goods and the services, and hence more companies competing for the same space. Further, the VUCA, that is your volatility, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So, in short, it is a VUCA. At times, make the competitive landscape more uncertain, with the result, the survival of the business itself becomes a challenge. Process the change methods. The organizational experience has evident different methods of re-engineering the processes. Some of the popular methods are business process re-engineering, time total quality management (TQM), outsourcing, downsizing. Then the three facts about the change: that it is everywhere, that it is constantly present, and the space of change is increasingly experienced by organizations and individuals alike. Thus, the managing change assumes significance. It is a methodology that integrates the change and the ability to adapt into the organizations. It is an organized systematic applications of knowledge, tools, and resources to change that provide the organizations with the key process to achieve their strategies. Now, the technological advancement, because what are the reasons? Reasons for the process of change. Why the process change are required. One of the reasons is this your technological advancement. With the with the emergence of new technologies, basically CRM, e-business, and the knowledge management, technology is now considered as a strategic tool rather than an automation tool is in the past. As newer technologies, process-based change are developed and implemented, the skill is and work habits required of employees change as well. So technological advantage is one of the reasons. Another another part is the growing trend for the total quality management initiatives. For the employees focus on collaborative attempts to improve the organizational process, to ensure the continual improvement in the quality of the organization's product, process, or services. So overall quality to be maintained and it should be world class. So this is the another reason for the process change. The advancement in the information technology that requires the organizations to, because this another purpose is this, that is your IT, because the IT technology has developed a manifold. To be able to develop an IT strategy, the fully supports and enables the business strategy to develop and grow. Listen to business needs and translate them into the technological requirements. Then make the common database available to all the customer service management, thereby the joining market and the business strategy with data functions. Use easy access to a knowledge management approach and technology to turn individual knowledge into company wide knowledge speedily and effectively. So knowledge management is another approach. These all are we are talking about the reasons for the process change. Now, one of the flowchart are what are the symbols? Basically, the symbolic different symbols that are utilizing. There's some activity, then the document. There are different symbols will be there, and your data input outside the flow. It may be a triangle, it may be rectangular, it may be a trapezium. There are different shapes are there. So it is a predefined process. And then finally you start of the process, then finally, and after that you are the end of the process. So all some flowcharts are there, and that is a symbolically defined. Now the factors that influence the whether BPR is advisable. So In this case, the business process reengineering, basically the business process reengineering, although it is difficult to provide a genetic advice on the circumstances that influence whether BPR is advisable. Reengineering the business process uh, for reengineering is advisable or not, and organizations can consider the following factors. See, the factors are to be considered. One, is BPR necessary for the company? First, you have to decide really for your business some re-engineering is required or not. Second point, should the organization consider gradual incremental improvements or radical changes? In a incremental way, that improvement is required and some radical changes are required, then only go for the changes, because what are the things are influencing the factors. If you feel radical changes are required in all the sector, every department has to be changed, so drastic change to be taken, then definitely you have to go for changing, and this is the influence factors. Is the company clearly outperforming to stay in the competition with the BPR? Another reason the situation is outperforming to stay in the competitions. Then also you have to declare for BPR. Then, are there any conflicts in the use of this approach in the organizations? Within the organizations internally, if any conflicts going on or persist the conflicts, so that time this type of approach, changing approach, you have to have in your organizations. Means BPR is advisable. Are the communication channels clear and structured? So you have to see in your organizations which of the factors are influencing. If you feel the communication channels is not good, what are the way the communicating the peoples or hierarchies? Some loopholes are there. Some lukuma, it is not notified timely. People are not aware of all these things. So not communicated each other, interpersonal relations in terms of your communication is not good. So then definitely you have to go for BPR. Does the company have the process which needs redesign urgently? So this is also a factor. If you feel that redesign is required, so you have to go for redesign. These all are questions, basically the influence factors which are to be discussed within the group, within the management itself, and during the meetings, and decide if the BPR really required or not. Are the IT levels supporting and the capabilities sufficient to support BPR? Information technology, whatever there, different levels are there. This is really supporting or not, or some problems are there, or that type of capacity or capabilities are not sufficient. Then you have to go for, you have to take a support of BPR. Culture conducting is another thing. Culturally, organizations are not at par with the standard or not productive because of this culture. So then again, you have to go for BPR. Now, challenges of the BPR approach. What are the challenges when you are going for the BPR business process re-engineering? During that process, that type of approach. What are the problems that are coming? What are some of the common problems with the VPS are the process simplifications that the organizations attempts in common, but true BPR is later and spirit is not. So this is one of the common problems. So that means some sort of sprint is required and process should be simplified. Simplification, I mean simple type. Another common problem is that is your DPR may not yield the expected results if the desire to change is not strong enough. So some design has to be created, some design has to be yes, we require some change. In mass support is required in all levels. Then only it is and suppose the expected results are not coming. What are the BPR is not is there, but still it is not coming because there are no willingness. Strong mindset is required. So this is another problem. Another problem, the starting point for the existing process to be changed based on the audit results that acquire after re-engineering. So this is also one of the things based on the audit results. What are the loopholes? What are the changes are really required? Then you go for re-engineering. Otherwise, if you start engineering without any conclusions, then it may be create a problem. Most process changes fail as the organizations think of changing them till they become obsolete. Because human natures, until unless these things are going on, I mean, some particular machine, it will be some of the machines. As long as it is a operating conditions, even though that expiry date is over, company are reluctant to change this equipment in urgent cases. Most of the cases, even though some of the things are obsolete, still in the think process are delayed. Some of the things are they are continuing the same things. So sometimes because of that, the process change are failed. So this is one of the area, problematic area. Another common problems are this is that if the process under review is too big or too small, the organization postpones the BPI initiatives. So initiatives and the process should be simplified. And review is required so that the process should not be very long time or not very short. So it should be in a reasonable time, reasonable initiatives are required. Otherwise, the organization postpones or sometimes create a problem. So cost of the change when it is appears to large market, large makes the organization rethink about the BPI. So cost is one of the factors. Problem because if it is a very too large, huge money is required. So sometimes the management are rethink for the BPI. They are saying, okay, no problem because enough money is involved. So re-engineering is not required. This is the way they keep silent. They not go ahead. These approaches. Then it is this type of problems are there. of the challenges that might crop us is when the BPR is seen as an isolated activity. Or some of the things times the corporate HODs are thinking, management are thinking, no, 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 it is not a good idea at the right time. So isolate the things. This activity is not very much required right now. And that whatever the processes are not aligned with the business objectives, always it is in a isolated way, then it creates there is some sort of a challenges, problems. It means whatever the process, change process are there, should be aligned with your objectives. So, organizational experience also demonstrates, but PPR fails because of the market allocations of resources. So this is all are the common problems. Poor timing and the planning implementations also delay the entire process. So timing is also an important thing. Organizational challenges lies in the keeping the team and the organizations on target. Sometimes, or maybe the quite often, the gradual and incremental change might be a better approach. Problems might occur when the PPR is culturally biased towards the US way of thinking. So this is also think about it, country to country, location to location, it is change. You have to see their local employees concerned. It should be in terms of your, in case of your local things. So don't bias with the US, but the way the US are doing. So that time it may create a problem. So now avoid the failure. How to avoid the things? To avoid the failure of the BPR process, experts' recommendations. What are the experts' recommendations? So now here are some of the recommendations. We are talking about some of the recommendations, some of the conclusions, solutions. So BPR must be accomplished by strategic planning, which addresses leveraging the IT as a competitive tool. Number two, place the customer at the center of the re-engineering effort and concentrate on the re-engineering fragmented processes that lead to delays or other negative impacts on the customer services. A sense of ownership should prevail throughout the organization and not driven by a group of outside consultants. Number four, that is the process teams must be comprised of both the managers as well as those who will actually do the work. That's a very important thing. So the process team should be combined or should be included or comprised with both the managers and really those who are actively involved or doing the job for this, in this process. They are already assigned to these jobs. The IT support is crucial, and hence the IT group should be an integral part of the engineering team from the start. So when this process will start, IT members are to be involved throughout the day, throughout the time in the process, from the starting to up to the finish, because they are the key persons, IT groups. Team and the process owners must be supported by the top executives. So some interventions are required, top executive interventions are always required. Their guidance, their leadership, their support are always required. Who do not leave or retire when the process is on. Suppose for these processes are 2 years or 3 years, that process are defined. So Leaders or those who are the team top executive to be involved or responsible, they should at least 2 to 3 years should be there. They should not be retired in between or not don't take the leave itself. Keeping in view of the more successful executions. The BPR projects must have an action plan with a clear time frame, ideally between the 3 to 6 months, so that the organization is not in a state of limbo. BPR should not ignore the organizational culture and they must emphasize on the constant communications and feedback. Now coming to TQM, total quality management. So total quality management is a management approach that oriented in the 1950s and became popular in 1980s. It is a philosophy which applies the equally to all parts of the organization. The simple objectives of TQM is do the right things, right the first time every time. This is one of the slogans or quotations. It is a foundation for many activities which include commitment by the senior management by all employees. Number two, customer focus. Three is you're reducing the cycle time for successful TQM. Then your just-in-time demand for manufacturing, development of teams, reductions in the product and the service product costs, systems to facilitate improvement, ownership by the line management, empowerment and the improvement of employees, challenges, goals with the measures and the benchmarking, focus on process and improvement plans, specific incorporation of the strategic plan. The 12th number is very important because in the strategic planning, what are the things are specified that has to be incorporated. Now some of the principles of the TQM, the key principles of the TQM are as follows. So what are the key principles? The management commitment, then employee empowerment, fact-based decision making, continuous improvement, customer focus. So all are the principal key points. TQM is concerned with the continuous improvement leading to excellence in the organizations in all the elements of the work. Another point is successful implementation of TQM requires its total integration into the day-to-day operations. So whatever the day-to-day operations, there the implementation is very much. The organizations also should take steps in managing the transition, keeping in mind that TQM is purpose-driven, leading to excellence. So, during in the management by the transitions, that you have to clear in mind that TQM is one of the driving force. So, we cannot ignore or we cannot compromise the things. What are the barriers? Now you see what are the barriers to implementing the TQM. So during the implementations, what are the problems arise in respect to TQM? Lack of definitions of quality, lack of formalized strategic plan for change, lack of a customer focus, poor communications, lack of real employee empowerment, lack of employee trust in senior management. View that TQM is a quick fix. It's not like this. It's not a quick fix. Drive for short-time financial results, organizational politics. So it's all are the problems. I think this is some sort of barriers to the implementation of it. Now coming to downsizing. Downsizing is a process in which the companies remove the temporarily or unintentionally a number of employees from their payrolls. So it is a common phenomena. We have seen the worldwide and India also. The downsizing is nowadays a very common word. Job cut, then no job, remove from this company, the employment curtail. So all these things are we are now aware of all these things. So it is an extremely difficult exercise. Organizations to reduce the manpower to or some curtail their payrolls. It's very difficult task for as an HR persons. It taxes the resources of the management, including their business acumen and the human culture. The organizational environment is a risk with angry employees who were laid off and the survival syndrome of the employees who remain in the organization unless and demotivated. So it is a very difficult thing, difficult way situations because employees will be demotivated. They will be in anxious, worried about their future life, survival mode, things, symptoms. So it's very difficult. They may angry, they can start agitations, lot of things can be happen. Legal issues. Now, what are the legal issues? Downsizing is a method where the junior employees are terminated fast across all departments in the organization. The action of the organizations can certainly be defended in a court of law. Laying off 10% of the employees across all departments on the basis of the seniority can be dismissed. If employees go to the court of law stating on a reasons for the layoff, they can go for the law and they can fight for this their right. The managers, on the other hand, fear that advance notice of the organizational uh, deteriorations might allow the employees to sabotage the business. This is another issue because if you notify these employees from this department that they are to be terminated or something to lay off from after 20 days or end of this month, their services may not be required with this type of situation or before, then there is a chance of sabotage in the business. That things the managers are very much fear of this advance notice. So that's why very tactfully most of the companies they are doing very the notice are not served in so advance. Before that they have to discuss and some sort of indications they are spreading. Then slowly they have to take these things so that that type of angry or agitation should not build up. So to avoid these problems, the organizations can address a few concerns before embarking on the path to downsizing. What they should do? Identifying the reasons to downsizing. First of all, they have to spread and should be advertise. This is the reasons for these the company's conditions, decision, whatever it is, downsizings are to be taken or downsizing is to be done. So have a predefined vision of the company post downsizing, and at the same time you have to have a some give an idea. So after the post downsizing, what have to be the new projects are coming or what type of benefits will be there, that has to be forecast. Respect the dignity of the employees and the laws, both global and the local. So these all are the legal issues. So we have to have a clarify. Basically, the clarification is required. Otherwise, the hesitation, angry, dissatisfaction, sabotaging, will be increased. To avoid these problems, the organizations can address a few concerns before embarking on the path of the implementation. These all are the avoidance of the identify the business for the downsizing, then your clear communication to the employees and the encouraging two-way communication. That's the number four main things. Respect the employees, that is one thing. Respect the laws also. What are the laws given, the written, compensation, money, whatever the things. Or at the same time, clear communication with the employees are also to be required. Should be two-way communication, not any one. Now coming to outsourcing. In organizations will have activities which are normally categorized as core and non-core activities. Outsourcing or the contracting out is often defined as the delegation of non-core activities or jobs from internal productions from within a business to an external entity. You can say that is your subcontract who specialize in such activities, just outsourcing them. It is a business decision to focus on the core activity and reward the cost of it to stay in the company. This happen because of it to reduce the cost. And sometimes because that type of expertise is not there, uh, that's why they have to take a hire some of the agencies and to perform the jobs, they have to take a help of the other agencies. Because otherwise the competition is there. If you start your own particular things and that type of knowledge you don't have, then you have to create the skilled employees. Then you have to start these things. Then it may take time. By the time market will be market demand will be goes up because lot of other companies will come in the market. So to capture the market, to retaining the market, and to steady increase in your share market, your share values, so the competition. So you have to have a sometimes it is outsourcing or advisories. The call center and the BPOs providing in the back end support that started in the post 2000 period of in India that we have seen. Then after that, your Sri Lanka, China, Israel is considered as the best example of outsourcing that we have seen. Lot of outsourcing are as we have seen in other countries also. Now we have to go for some approaches, group-based approaches to change. Teams can change out a positive alterations. Any change effort being implemented in an organization. So therefore, the use of team activities to resolve the quality and the performance crisis has become more widespread in the recent years. So quality and the performance crisis are always there. So some of the positive alterations are required to cope up these changes, and it is effort Normally, the implementation stage is very much required. So that's why the group-based approaches are successful in some of the cases. So you have to take it as a prepare a team for that. So there are what the reason behind it? First is the growing complexities. Sometimes in the business organization there are so lot of complex affairs, and to make good and the right decisions. So this is the first thing. Second is second reason is your developmental efforts are often focused on the process flow, and cross-functional teams can provide the better and more needed informations. So those were the cross-functional teams mean different expertise, different teams are, as a group, they can better way they can give the information. Third reason is managers believe that if they place people into the ongoing work teams, they will be better motivated and more constant. So people also should ongoing work teams, and because they are together, they are doing all the things. Some sort of team spirit is there, so initiatives and your motivations will be more. It should be very constructive also. Fourth reason is recent models for the learning organizations. This is one of the most popular, incredible, because in India, and not only the India, other countries, everywhere, it is given a more trust, emphasize on these things, learning organizations. So further entails that team are natural ways to gain and flexibility, because the teams should learn properly and implement it. So this is the way it is gained, and a lot of other flexibilities are there. Finally, the organizations even see the teams as a way of assuring quality in process by making teams responsible for internal quality control. Now, I have to go for different approaches. Sensitivity training. Sensitivity training refers to a method of changing behavior through the unstructured group interface. Sensitivity training, this means basically the behavioral changes in unstructured way and through this group interface. It goes by a variety of names such as your laboratory training, where a group of people are locked. I mean, they are in the laboratory shop. They can brainstorming. They can lot of new ideas they can discuss. There is no fixed guidelines, no target as such. Free and open mind they can discuss. So this type of training, it seems a lot of ideas are coming up. Encounter groups. So this means the conflict or debates, encountering the groups. T group, another is the participations. So T group began and emerged in the 1946, and through a series of events and at the New Britain workshops. So it is very successful, and that type of approach is very good, but this is still retaining. So T groups aims at what are the aim of the T groups? Understanding one's own behavior and how one's behavior affect the others. Because when you are in a group discussion in a T groups, suppose you are arguing or fighting, what the way the others are try to convincing you, your ego levels, and really you are in the right path or right decisions or not, or viewpoints has to be correct or not, what the way others are clarifying the things. So all these things in this process, through this process, individual can learn a lot, and he can modify their ideas, modify their learning. So this is one of the team group aim at very good, very efficient process. Understanding why people behave the way they do. And at the time of behavioral science, behavioral patterns also can be identified. Encouraging one to try out new ways of interacting with the people and the recipients. So what the way you are interacting with the people and what the how much you are receiving, so everything are can be identified. Then change feedback, understanding group discovery processes, developing the tolerance of other people's behavior. So level of tolerance through this process are significantly changes because those are maybe they're very much egoistics, but even they when they are in the group, they can learn and realize the things. Maybe their ego level will be softer or maybe slowly it will goes down. So under more unstable will be there. Now it helps the members of the group. So sensitive training, what the it will help attain increased sensitivity to their own behavior, the behavior of others, to the nature of group development. Another thing, you will achieve more pragmatic self-perceptions and greater group solidarity. So this is one of the say self-esteem, self-realization part can be there. Reduce the dysfunctional interpersonal conflicts. You can reduce your conflict in a drastically in a certain level, which is indispensable for a better assimilations between the individual and the organization, which is really required for individual persons so that they can understand where his positions and think thought process. So from the individual and from the organization. The formal group diagnostic meeting. So the formal group diagnostic meeting allows a group to be its own critic in order to identify its strengths and the problem areas. It encourages every group member to contribute and generate ideas. So, in this dynamic meeting, everybody should speak up, debate each other, conflict each other, and contribute the things. So, it will generate the new ideas. Data collected during the meeting serve the foundation of the future actions. And after the outcomes of the discussions, after the conflicting, debating, what are the things, commenting each other's. So finally, it will give some of the good future actions can be taken up. Team building activities. A team is a group of individuals who tend to work interdependently to satisfy organizational as well as their own individual objectives. According to Riley and Jones 1974, they say the teams as different from other groups are characterized by how we come to differentiate or characterized by the reason or the charter of the working together. Interdependency, where the skills, abilities of the individuals are mutually supported. Then commitment to and the belief in organizational and the working together. Then accountability of their performance. So in the last point, that is your accountability is very important. That is can be so based on this you can characterize the group individuals. Now are coming up the time. Group-based approaches, what are different types are there? The type 1 is the simple problem solving focus. Internal blocks, the lack of training levels, first level work teams, there's the example of quality circles. So this is the first type. High type, that is your type 2 goal. The problem solving and selling of ideas focus. External blocks, the lack of empowerment levels, management teams, examples, and top management teams. Now, the third type is the integration in structure and the setting ground rules focus on these things. There are internal blocks, basically, the organizational structure level, first and the middle level example, that is a cross-functional teams, low and there is a low and the low membership fluidity high. So there is some sort of combinations are there. Then type 4 goal is the creative problem solving. And the implementation will focus on the strategic blocks. This is the basically for the strategic part. Preparedness levels, all levels, that is a Samrock team. Then your quality circle. The concept of your quality circle are organized in Japan and was originally known as the quality control system circles. So quality circle is a small group of employees from the same work area performing similar work who volunteer to meet regularly one to one and for one and half an hour each up to company time. So quality activities may be helpful to the organization in the following ways: contribute to the improvement and the development of the enterprises, respect humanity, and the build a worthwhile to live in, happy, bright workshops, exercise human capabilities fully and eventually draw out the infinite possibilities. Basically, quality setting is aimed to help out of the way. You have to help to the others voluntarily, or you can slot a time half an hour or 1 hour. You have to go for the other department or other colleagues, and whatever the skill you have, you can help them, and then it will be create a environment. And again, it is in a daily basis or weekly basis or in the evening or quarterly, whatever the way fit for that policy can be done. Cross-functional teams. The cross-functional teams bring together the knowledge and the skills of the people from various work areas and identify the solve mutual problems. In other words, the specialized from the different areas are brought together and put in the team to achieve their goals. So quality activities may be helpful to the organizations in the following ways: contribute to the improvement, respect to the humanities, and your exercise the human capabilities, all these things. Then self-manage work teams, the SMT, are defined as a group of workers who are given administrative oversight to their tax domains. Administrative oversights involve, and these jobs are normally performed by the managers. They are also referred to as a semi-autonomous teams. The impact of the your managed teams are enormous. So by the introducing the self-managed teams, the typical managerial hierarchy are there. So these are flutter organizations. Now you have to deal with the evaluations part is there. Evaluations are very important. The effective evaluations on the promotion of the change needs a systematic collections of data. You have to collect the data and then sequentially you have to evaluate it. It cannot be certain for the change interventions, And your managing the change is not any easy process because you have to have a good knowledge for that, to know about the success and the failure, both the case interventions, and which will have the benefit for the assistants to the learn and the managing changes. Process and the context evaluations prior to carrying out the intervention process. So current status has to be known. Explain the organizational changes need to be brought out, and study should be carried out subsequently with the intervention assistance. In the evaluation research, we have seen it commences with a clear understanding by the persons undertaking the evaluations of the actions or the activity that is which are to be evaluated. Then some of the flowchart is given the evaluation research, initial actions, the determinations, and then this way changing the interventions. And some action research are there about of these approaches. Then clarity of the purpose, strategies are there, and then your some of the flowcharts diagram is there, obtaining the data, and then after that, this is the way it is completed. So, okay, thank you very much. Namaskar.